avoiding pain is a dangerous thing to do. And when I say dangerous, I mean it's a risky thing to do. With you can position yourself to have unfavorable outcomes if you avoid pain. Now, when I say avoid pain, what do I mean? When I say avoid, what I'm trying to convey is not avoid in a sense of your safety. So you're avoiding situations that might bring you pain. Like you wouldn't go out, you wouldn't jump out of well, it's a good example. You may not go certain depth in the water without having like a life. That's not pain. How am I trying to convey this? Come on, David. You're better than this. Like you're not putting your hand on the stove because you know it's going to burn. You're avoiding it. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean avoiding in a sense of you are consciously aware of something, say within yourself, for example, like an issue, a problem, or just a real sense, and you become aware of it. But because you don't like how that makes you feel in that moment, or you may not fully understand it, so you try to convince it or convince yourself that that's actually something else. You re-justify it, you avoid it. Well, that's very dangerous. And I'll give you an example, because this is what spawned this whole thought. Right now, I'm playing with my teeth using my tongue. And I'm feeling around the certain texture changes between the bottom rack or the bottom set of my teeth along the gums where there might be tartar or buildup or something. You know, that's what we do. We're like cats. We lick our bodies. We kind of just take care of ourselves, right? So I'm feeling around my teeth using my tongue and my mouth. And what I'm really doing is I'm gauging, because it's been a long time since I've been to the dentist, because for a section of my life, I had to make certain moves in my job that did not give me health insurance or dental coverage. So that prevented me from seeing a dentist because it wasn't as cheap, it wasn't as affordable. So now I'm in a position where I'm months later and I'm like, well, do I need to make it a priority to go to the dentist, right? So I'm feeling around and I'm learning, I'm gauging, I'm thinking, right? I'm doing all these things that we do as humans, which is it's an amazingly beautiful thing that we do. Humans are amazing fucking creatures, or we're amazing beings. It's very thrilling, or very enlivening, if that's the right word, to be a human, right? Especially when we're not distracted by ideas of what we should be. We're more focused on the reality of who we are, things we do, the things we feel. So if I feel angry, I'm not going to let an ideology say you shouldn't feel angry because it should be this way, because that's not real. That's not really what you think. So you can see how that throws off. So that's a side rant. But anyways, my point is, I was trying to interpret those words correctly, because that's where a lot of points that are trying to be made, or the way that humans try to express things, we get lost in translation, how we interpret it. So I may say something and it may rub you the wrong way, but that may not be the way it's rubbing you may not have been the sincerity of why I used that word. So communication gets lost in that. And as humans, we're getting smarter. We're seeing that. We're becoming aware of it. And if we don't avoid it, this is a perfect fucking example. I'm glad this came out like that. If we don't avoid that, then we actually grow as a species, right? So, and you take that in your own life. So on my teeth, I might think, well, you know what? It's not a big deal. My teeth don't really need to be cleaned. I mean, fuck. I've seen people. What about the old days when they didn't have dental health? I mean, they had teeth too. All these nonsensical, like petty, childlike things that my mind fires off to convince myself why I shouldn't be responsible about my own teeth, right? So avoiding the here's the part. Let me give you a reason why I call it pain. One of the reasons why I would even consider, you may think, why would he consider not taking care of his teeth? I mean, that's a really good deal. Just do it, right? I agree. Here's the reason. I don't really like the dentist because I've had multiple times, and I had a really bad experience when I was a kid, and it set the stage wrong, man. The framework of my mind on seeing dentistry. But I've had a lot of times where I've just been extremely uncomfortable with very sensitive roots in my mouth, and it's just pain that I don't like. It's very numbing pain. Like, and when I say numbing, I mean it's like it's almost so painful that I feel like I have to try to numb myself just to get through it. But numbing yourself itself is painful. Like it's not like numbing yourself is fighting fire with fire. Like you're basically you're taking something you don't like and you're using something else. You're flooding your body with something else, for example, like alcohol or a drug or caffeine or whatever, to the intensity of that pain. So you're numbing yourself. So these are difficult things, and they all come at the expense of avoidance, right? So that's why I call it painful. When I say like avoiding pain, in my mind, when I think about playing with my teeth and tying that to whether or not I want to go to the dentist. Well, if I avoid going to the dentist because I want to avoid pain, and what I mean by this is I'm consciously aware that, man, it's been a while since I've been to the dentist, right? I know that. So if I convince myself, well, I don't want to go because, it might hurt, and you know what, it's not a big deal anyways, blah, 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 blah. Avoiding that pain is dangerous because now there's a lot of things that I don't medically know about in my mouth that could be going on that I may think, well, it's not a big deal. And in actuality, if for the sake of having a good lifestyle with the technologies we have available to us, it's easy to upkeep our teeth. So it's a very feasible thing for me to do for my body, right? It's not like we're in the war of like 1812 and we don't have resources and we're having to figure out things and live off the land. That's not the problem that I'm having to solve right now. That's been solved. So as an evolution of our species, what I think is now we start solving problems at a higher level, but the higher the level, the finer the problem is. So what I mean by that is the invention of the automobile was a big change to humanity, and I guess you can call it a benefit or whatever. So now that we have that, we focus on getting them faster and smoother, and then better sound systems. So you see what I mean? So it's a higher level, but it's a finer shade of it. Like it's minor differences that improve it dramatically. So it's kind of along the lines of that, and avoiding these pains, avoiding these necessary confrontations that cause uncomfort can really set us back in our own lives, and therefore the entire species. And I'm not saying that you have to live for the entire species, but I don't know, I tend to think that I kind of just have this inclination that when I have the ability to do better for people, I want to do it. Makes me feel better. So anyways, that kind of sums it up. I think you get the point on that, so I'm just going to stop rambling.